Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff operations officer, assisted the national security team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the vice commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Welcome to Truth Thursday on the Rob Maness Show. We're live on World YouTube and X Spaces simulcast. Well, America is back, but the fight continues to protect it. That's what today's show is about. What a powerful way to kick things off with that incredible message from President Trump, reminding every one of us, including you Marxist commie Democrats, to stand tall and put Americans first. That's exactly the spirit we're carrying into today's show. Optimistic, energized, and laser-focused on winning for our country. And speaking of winners, I'm absolutely all fired up to welcome back one of the most dedicated patriots I know, my great friend Chad Caton. Chad's a former U.S. Navy Seabee, retired firefighter and first responder who ran towards danger when others ran away. He's a proud Trump Campaign Veterans Coalition surrogate, a tireless GOP political activist, and currently serving as the national field director for the Conservative Caucus, fighting every single day to protect our freedoms, support our veterans, and keep America moving forward to the highest ground of any nation and where it will always remain. Whether he's on the ground rallying conservatives, exposing the truth, or standing shoulder to shoulder with Trump supporters across this great nation in places like Portland or Minnesota or Los Angeles, Chad brings the unstoppable positive energy and rock-solid commitment we all love and need right now. Chad, my brother, welcome back to the show. It's always fun when you're here. What's got you on fire today? Besides that video,
America. I mean, when you got a president walks up there and says, you people are stupid, 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 and the rest of you are pretty cool, I'm all in. You got me back, Mr. President. Not that I left the plantation, but damn it, was I bored a little bit. But he fired up the base. He moved that needle a little bit towards the midterms, and now we got to get on the ground and get the work done.
Yeah, absolutely. So what'd you think of the Democrats I don't know if Fetterman stood up or not. I don't know where he was sitting, but I didn't see any Democrats standing when he made that statement. Not one.
Well, that's their job. Cry. That's what the Democrats are all about at this point. Cry, 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 virtue signal a little bit, cry for somebody else, and then flip the script so that everybody can think that in the wide world of sports, that in some way or another, it's Trump's fault. I don't care if you stubbed your toe, got a flat tire, or got stuck in traffic. It is Donald J. Trump's fault. And you saw it written all over their face, but Donald Trump had a plan for him at that State of the Union, and he made them all look like absolute 1,000% idiots. And here's the thing. Again, we are pumping right now. And the Democrats, that's all they know. They have to cry. Yeah. They have to say that I can't stand. Screw you, Mark Kelly, by the way. You can't stand for what is right and that is our citizens instead of an illegal foreigner who, by all means, could be here as a cell or, for that matter, a rapist, a murderer, or even worse, somebody that has done mass murders. We've seen that. They've actually arrested people that have killed more than one person. Not that one's not bad, but we keep letting these people out. Look at Portland, Minneapolis. I've been there. This place is 1,000%. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't taken down the statues of Christopher Columbus in most of these cities and put up Stalin. It is that bad at this point. And Donald Trump said, we're not going to take it, and I'm not going to put up with your BS. It's beautiful. I'm pumped.
Yeah, there is a statue of either Marx or Stalin or Lenin somewhere out there in that Pacific Northwest. I don't know if it's in Oregon or Washington State, but they have done it.
Well, Colonel.
I like the beard, though. I like the beard. Did you?
It took me a long time to grow this. I started at 18.
That was my favorite line. Go ahead.
There is actually a satanic worshiping center inside the Minneapolis Capitol. I was there. I was there with Laura Ingraham. I was there with Nick Sorter. I was there with Commander Bovino and our Secretary Treasurer Bassett. We were sitting there. There is a satanic, I don't know what you call it, where you pray to it, or a statue and a card that say the Satanic Democrats of Minneapolis. They let that be in their Capitol building. These people have completely gone off the reservation. So I just wanted to put that out there because people should know.
Mississippi got an answer for that. Michael Cassidy from here, who was a congressional candidate a few years ago, went up to Des Moines where they had one of those, and he knocked it down. Won his court case, too, by the way. All right, my second favorite line after that one, that was my favorite line of the State of the Union address. My second one was when he called out the Somali pirates for raiding and defrauding the American taxpayer of billions of dollars, which got the little Islamist lady, Ilhan Omar from Minnesota, to yelling and screaming and pointing her fingers at him. What was your favorite line after the first one?
Well, I couldn't be wrong. When there's nothing better than watching the human tampon that is Ilhan Omar lose her absolute love and mind. And the reason why is because she's un-American. She's viciously defensive of Somalia. And as somebody that myself, who has been attacked by Somalis investigating the fraud with Mehek Cook at the Jubba daycare, where there was no kids, there was crack and needles outside. They didn't even have a working air conditioner because you know how I know that? It was sitting in the middle of the parking lot. These people had brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars since January, and this was January 25th. They had already gotten a $175,000 check. We went there, just knocked on the door, and a raging bull of a Somali came out, threw my heck out, and I had to point him in his forehead and say, "Don't touch me." And this is where they are. They're defensive because they're guilty. They're defensive because they have been raping the United States tax funds for a very long time. They're guilty by that, and they didn't like hearing that the most powerful man in the world pointing directly at their hajib and say, "We're coming for you. What you did was wrong, and we are going to investigate and deal with you appropriately." They lost their mind. It was beautiful. It was wonderful.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Now you've been out in Southern California, I think.
Just got back yesterday, yeah.
Few days. What's going on out there?
Well, I'm it's beautiful. We can fight for this state, man. We got to keep California in the game. Fifth largest economy if it was its own country. Just the beauty and majesty of it all. And we did talk. We went to Palisades and did an investigation there. We interviewed quite a few people. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Palisades, if they were ever blue, they sure as hell aren't anymore. Not even close. Yeah. Malibu, very red right now because of everything that Gavin Newsom and Tiny Bass said to President Trump, that they were not going to have any red tape. They weren't going to do this, and they were going to get these people put back where they needed to go. That's not true. I was there just 2 days ago, a year and I think 3 weeks since the fires. And they were having a farmer's market of engineers and construction companies because they're still getting through the red tape and they haven't even begun to decide what homes they're going to put on their old foundation. It's disgusting. It is thoroughly disgusting. And then we hear that the government will buy their lot from them and they want to make low income housing. Oh, well, that's super. So we decided to go to Skid Row and see how that worked out. So we went to Skid Row to see how they do deal with the low-income people all the way to the point of homelessness. And I was on the street doing my prep on my live, Colonel. And the next thing I know, a transvestite named Gary came up to stab me.
Really?
On tape. Had to call the police. Big shout out to LAPD Central Division. Those guys were not messing around, and they had our back. It was great. But myself and the BC preacher that is on X, we walked out there, started filming, getting ready to go out there and investigate. And a transvestite came up to me, and his name is Gary. And he went off and argued with us for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then finally pulled a knife and tried to walk behind me, and preacher stopped him. So we had to call the police because he wouldn't get away from the car. He kept looking at the tires, and these people are crazy. And the things we saw on Skid Row, it just makes your heart bleed. And California is a cesspool. Gavin Newsom has destroyed a beautiful place that I lived while I was in the military. And it is disgusting. I talked to a friend of mine that owns a home up in the hills. It's nothing special. He pays $15,000 a year on property taxes. He's like, they're making it so we can't be here. And I said, you're absolutely right. And for a guy that surfed his whole life and gave 2 flips about politics, he sure as hell does now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think is really going on, is they're trying to run them out or wait them out so they can't get their asset back, and because these crazy people believe in not owning anything. They really are. They're enacting that through these nefarious means when they get the opportunity to do, like the Palisades fire. It's just disgusting and despicable. Did you hear anything about the California governor's race while you were out there? Did you guys talk about that?
No, but I've heard from a lot of people on X that really, 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 really want me to be okay with Sheriff Bianco. And I'm sorry, as a former CB and a firefighter and public safety servant, anytime I see a picture of an elected official at the crotch of BLM taking a knee, I don't give a flip. You will never get my vote. You don't get to say you were praying. You don't get to tell me that you in some way or another were ideologically trying to save your county. I don't give a flip. We are in a time in our country right now where we need some spine. I don't need another floppy Republican out there in California. Everybody's like, well, there's a lot of moderates. No, there's a bunch of retards. And what we have to get past is put Republican people with the conservative values that are necessary for us to maintain that and to build from it through capitalism and what makes this country so damn great. We don't have time for those kind of people. Now, Steve Hilton has said some DEI crap that I don't like either. So, and I kind of have a problem with somebody with a foreign accent in these high positions. But you know what? There ain't any other Republicans. So as it sits right now, the way the Bianco people have been coming after me on Twitter or X, I'm fully behind Steve Hilton all the way.
Yeah, you're reading my mind. I was like, man, I don't know if I could vote for a dude with a foreign accent.
It's hard. It is really hard.
If you haven't been a citizen long enough to lose at least most of that, it's hard to vote for you. But the more I've seen of Bianca, the more I would. If I was a citizen of California, I'd be out there campaigning for Steve. Look, as Reagan said, if I can agree with somebody 80% of the time, then he's my friend. And I haven't heard much out of Steve that would change my mind on that. But Bianca is out there. He's way out there. And Colonel, we can't do that.
These people. The thing that bothers me is that they're like, well, he's DEI. Well, there's a difference. There's one thing to pander, right? You got to pander to some counties. I hate it, but I understand the game. What do I always say? Shell knows over there in spaces. Learn the game, play it better, then only you can kick their ass. So understanding the pandering that he may be doing right now is okay. I don't like it. I'd like somebody that talks the way I do, or that goes up there and talks like Trump and says, this is what we're going to do. But you know what? When you do something as egregious, and what is politics? It's stuff that is like, this is my line. I need somebody I'm going to vote for somebody that does X. It's unfortunate. We should look at the entire book. Bianco did some good things by telling Gavin Newsom on the COVID stuff. But when you're sitting on a bale of hay trying to look like a tiny cowboy and telling me that you want amnesty for everybody in California, you are now dead to me. Literally, you are dead to me. And the minute that you go out there and you pander to BLM, literally at the crotch of BLM as they're storming through your county, I'm not going to put up with that. We need strength. We need spine in this country, period.
Absolutely right, man. Well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue this discussion. And we'll hear from Senator John Fetterman on the way back into the next segment. I'm sure that we'll be fired up over that. I'll be right back.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work, try to see a doctor this week, or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Go to worldviewhealthcare.com. Your kit to treat dozens of common and serious illnesses is rushed to your door. worldviewhealthcare.com. That's worldviewhealthcare.com.
The emergency kit available at worldviewhealthcare.com. Make sure you don't have to go to urgent care. I got pneumonia. I didn't have to go. I took this last year. Stayed at home. Went to bed.
The rest of people in my party would stand up and clap for. I clapped with a lot of those things that it seemed like others. Like I stood up and I clapped to recognize the family that lost their daughter, the Ukrainian girl that was stabbed to death, in North Carolina. And I stood up and I clapped that political prisoner from Venezuela. How you can't celebrate those kinds of things. And now I also celebrated all the veterans that were in the audience as well too, and even more the political things like Erica Kirk. I stood up and I clapped for her as well too. Now here, can't we just be more kind to a widow? I mean, we just shouldn't be that long ago that a widow, with young children has her husband murdered. How we can't just acknowledge that as well too. Wow. Whether white people would attack her, whether the left or the right either. So I'm always going to stand up and clap for things that I agreed with like striking the Iranian, sites now for me. I never worry about who's standing up or clapping. If I see it, I'm going to. If I don't agree with it or whatever, I'm certainly not going to yell and scream and disrupt the whole thing.
Welcome back to Truth Thursday. And, America is back. And we're rising again. Beyond the disaster of Obama Biden or whatever that was for 4 years, Mr. Otto Penn, the proletariat or whatever that group was called, the Marxists that were running the country. We're beyond that now because we reelected this president, Donald J. Trump. But that there is one thing that everybody in the room should have been able to stand up for. Definitely one thing for sure, in addition to the medals being awarded to the military folks, and that is you're there as the government to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. My guest today is Chad Caton from I'm Fired Up. But Chad, he's the National Field Director of the Conservative Caucus, by the way, folks, and you can go to their website and help them out. I'm sure he'll pass that along before he gets off the show. But Chad, Fetterman, I was hard on him when he was running for U.S. Senate before he got his brain injury, his TBI there, because he was a Marxist. And now I don't know if they did some kind of surgery on his brain after he had the stroke or what, but he seems to have taken a moderating pill of some sort, or he's baking it really well. One of the two. But there needs to be more people like that. Yeah.
It definitely wasn't on my bingo card. And, there's people that have been knocked out or went in brain surgery and they woke up with an English accent and never been in England a day in their life. I didn't have it on my bingo card when they fixed Fetterman's brain that he was going to come back as a conservative. But, hey, I'll take it. And he's speaking to the moral compass of an average human. He's not in the weeds on geopolitics or inside of the economy and understanding tariffs. I mean, he's speaking of basically the golden rule. This is what we should stand for. This is where the moral compass of our country should stand. And that's something that the entire country needs to see and will see in the general election, when every Republican in the country is using that footage of those Democrats sitting on their ass as the president of the United States said, will you please stand, if you agree with me, which is pretty much fundamental, but if you agree with me that it is more important that we protect our citizens of this country other than illegal aliens, and they didn't stand. And that means you, Mark Kelly, you piece of crap. You want to sit there and talk about how you're some damn war hero, but at the end of the day, you can't stand for something as simplistic as being in a position to go by your oath and protect the people of this country. You are a traitor. You are disgusting to every person that's ever put on the uniform. And I pray to everything that is holy that you have to answer for this at some point or another, because it's disgusting. And Fetterman, good for you, man. Stand up there and be that big light on the Democrat side. I don't think anybody's going to mess with him because he's ginormous. But at the same time, I love the fact that he's willing to look at his moral compass and say, you know what? I'm a moral man. I'm going to stand for something that is bigger than myself. And it is right to stand with Donald Trump on these particular success stories and situations. It's not policy, it's moral. And the Democratic Party has shown themselves to be as vile as they could be and disgusting, led by none other than traitor Mark Kelly.
I'm glad you brought Kelly up. I saw him. I saw him stand one time. He stood for the Medal of Honor to the Navy fighter pilot that beat 7 MiGs flown by Soviet pilots in the Korean War.
Unbelievable.
1v7 in the first all-jet dogfight, and that Banshee jet the Navy had then was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. It's amazing. The guy is wicked as a fighter pilot, and Kelly damn sure stood up for him, but he didn't even stand up for the next guy we're going to show in the next segment, Eric Slover, man, the Chinook pilot that landed the aircraft and turned the gunners to the machine guns that were trying to kill them all as they were landing, while his legs were shattered and in pain, and blood was rolling down the back end of the aircraft, down the aisle of the jet there. So he didn't even stand for him. It's just disgusting. It's vile, like you said, and it's unbelievable. It's almost as vile as that F-35 Air Force retired F-35 pilot who also flew the F-15, the F-16, and one other platform I can't remember. So he's an expert in the tactics used in all of those aircraft. He was a civilian instructor in the F-35 at the schoolhouse, and he goes to China and teaches the People's Liberation Army Air Force all that he knows. What the hell is going on here?
I mean, I think they should drop him off at the local VFW and just say that we have a special guest and let us all know. Shut the door, Katie bar that shit, and let us deal with him.
Man, that's the shortest answer you've ever given, Chad. That's pretty good.
Because I don't want to go too far. That stuff really makes me mad. I'm getting red here.
I already said hell right on the air, and I can't do that.
I'm trying real hard, man. You're hitting the feels right now, and I really like to go off on people.
To go back to the senator, are you concerned? I'm a little bit concerned. I have this, like, my spidey senses tingling just a little bit when I listen to him, because I hear every day from people, and I know you do too, from people that, man, can't we just go back to the way it was when you had Sam Nunn and great senators on the floor of the Senate from both sides of the aisle? They could have a civil debate and get bills passed that were good and do things for people like America's veterans, and then walk away and be friends. Don't you want to go back to that? I hear it every day. And Fetterman's, the way he's acting now, makes me feel like, oh yeah, maybe we can do that. But the spidey sense.
So what you're saying is we have to give a lobotomy to the rest of the Democrats.
Well, the voice in the back of my head's going, no, Maness, these guys are commies. They're commies. They want to kill you. And they not only say it, they demonstrate it every day, like you were talking about with Tranny Gary there.
Yeah, I will never forget being in the middle of Minneapolis at 1 o'clock in the morning, 20 degrees below, and 4,000 psychopaths out there with Lululemon leggings, ponytails, earmuffs, and banging their $400 pans together to try to keep the Border Patrol up, and then try to go inside and break the windows of these hotels. It was crazy for me, because even in Portland, the Patriots came out, we took over the camp, You know, in Chicago, there was patriots that were counter protesting, doing drive-bys and telling the people there at the ICE facility what's up. There wasn't any of that in Minneapolis. As a matter of fact, people were coming out of their condos at 2:00 in the morning, pumping their fists to the protesters. I haven't seen anything so disgusting in my life in Minneapolis. And I don't know how we go back from that. So I like the people that say, can't we go back to where is reaching across the aisle? I think those days are gone. I think we're moving a lot closer to how the Koreans do it, where everybody brings a Filipino stick in there and they start smacking each other. That's where I feel like we're heading. Everybody feels it. There's a whole bunch of G.I. Joes out there that want it. But at the end of the day, we have to keep staying in the breach and fighting with this war on information and hypocrisy, which is coming out of the left. And we're able to have shows like yourself and this great network to put it out.
This isn't really that new, though, right? I mean, we've seen this throughout our entire history, even before the American Revolution happened and the Declaration of Independence, which we're celebrating 250 years of this coming July. I'll remind everybody. I mean, Americans have been kind of going at each other politically the whole time. Sometimes it's worse than others, like in the 1860s when we killed 600,000 of ourselves. But other times we all come together and get good things done. Hopefully, we could still come together at some point and find something that everybody can agree on. But man, if you can't stand up to say your responsibility in the government is to protect American citizens before anything else, that's crazy.
Well, my biggest thing right now, I like to make things simple for people to understand. And the way I look at it, you know, back in the days of Kennedy, we had the Republican and the Democrat Party. They worked across the aisle. They tried to work with one another. And that was because you had two different sides, but both of them were the athletes, right? In high school, they were two different football teams. But now, for some reason, in some way or another, the Democratic Party has got rid of their football team and went and got the drama club and the AV club and told them, hey, you guys are now in charge. This is where the meek have inherited the world, and they're still trying to push their own stupid ideology to what they play with in their hall and try to sit there in Dungeons and Dragons and make it a real world with lizard people and what other commie BS they want to bring into this. It's bat-ass crazy. I don't know another way. And Donald Trump agrees with me. He pointed to all of them and said, you are crazy people. You are legit crazy people. And that is where we're at right now. And I hope the whole world saw it at the State of the Union.
Well, I hope the people saw it are the Democrat voters, man. Surely not all of those people that still say they're members of the Democrat Party believe that they shouldn't be taken care of before foreigners, especially foreigners that are illegally in the country. I mean, surely there's enough of them that they can hold some of those people accountable. But, you know, their votes are rigged, too, even more so.
Well, for now.
Look how Hillary Clinton, you know, Barack Obama.
You're just bringing up all the people I hate today, aren't you?
Well, this is my one show where I get to do that, and I know I'll have a good answer.
I get it.
Back through the microphone. So we got a couple minutes before the break. Let me think of something else here that is not going to make you mad. Man, I don't know. Oh,
I like puppies.
I like puppies too, and I like kids. The little girl the president highlighted that was almost dead. She almost died. Yeah. Little Hispanic girl, American, from a Hispanic background. Her dad's there, and they won't even stand up to protect kids, man. I mean that one broke my heart right there, because we do a lot of work in this. Yeah, we do a lot of work to protect children with our government at every level. We do, and that one took me aback. It really did.
Well, it didn't take me back because I understand how vile these people are. And the thing is, Orange Man bad. It doesn't matter if you have, a brand new puppy that was ran over by something and he only has one leg and whatever. They don't care. They do not care. Yeah. They have lost all sense of moral compass, and they have put themselves in a position where they have Orange Man bad, and that's all that matters. We cannot give him anything. Yeah. We cannot give any ground whatsoever. And what it did, and I think that's why they had all of the other State of the Union BS where they had the giraffes and the corn and the frogs and all of that from Portland, and they had their own State of the Union because the Democratic Party knew they couldn't let these mental midgets be sitting in that room. They said, all you crazy people need to come over here with the Portland frogs and the roadcaster guy in his giraffe outfit with a thong and come over here and have fun, because if you're in that room, you're going to make the entire Democratic Party look like total assholes, and when we're going to lose the midterms because of your actions. Yep. That was very evident that they had to do something. So they had multiple State of the Union places. So all the super crazy triggered folks could go somewhere else and not make a fool of themselves in front of the national audience.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, we got to take a break, but when we come back, we'll see the medal presentation to a real live action hero. Even looks like Superman or Clark Kent. We'll be right back with Chad Caton.
What if millions around the world could access Bible teaching and worldview training for free right now without hitting a paywall? That's exactly what happens every day at worldviewtube.com because of the Worldview Weekend Foundation. We don't lock our live stream behind PayPal. We don't restrict our content to members only. Instead, the Worldview Weekend Foundation helps cover the cost of delivering free educational and ministry programming to people across the nation and around the world. And it's not just programming. My Sunday night church service, where I taught verse by verse through Revelation for 18 months, and now I am teaching through the book of Daniel, is made possible through the support of our church, Worldview Weekend Foundation. If you believe this kind of truth-centered biblical teaching must continue, donate today. Go now to worldviewfoundation.com. You'll also find our mailing address and phone number there if you'd rather give by phone or mail. That's worldviewfoundation.com. Thank you.
There were many heroes on that January raid to capture Maduro, really great heroes. It was very dangerous. They knew we were coming. They were all set. But the deeds of one warrior that night will live forever in the eternal chronicles of military valor. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Eric Slover, planned the mission and was the flight lead in the cockpit of the first helicopter. A big, beautiful, powerful helicopter. It was a massive Chinook carrying, as you can imagine, many, many American warfighters. Wearing the dog tags, his wife Amy had blessed with holy water before he left. She knew it was going to be a rough one. Eric steered the Chinook under the cover of night and descended swiftly upon Maduro's heavily protected military fortress. While preparing to land, enemy machine guns fired from every angle, and Eric was hit very badly in the leg and hip, one bullet after another. He absorbed 4 agonizing shots, shredding his leg into numerous pieces. The success of the entire mission and the lives of his fellow warriors hinge on Eric's ability to take the searing pain. It was unbelievable what's happened to his legs of the bullets and keep on flying and landing. And I'm thrilled to say that he is here tonight with his wife, Amy. So we have a surprise for Eric and Amy. In recognition of Eric's actions above and beyond the call of duty, I would now like to ask General Jonathan Braga to present Chief Warrant Officer Slover with our nation's highest military award, the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's Truth Thursday, and we got some truth coming out today in this show, and it should resonate with every American, but unfortunately it doesn't. The Democrats, Senator Mark Kelly, retired U.S. Navy captain, Navy pilot, did not stand up for that man. You traitor. Kelly, you're a traitor, and I'm never going to give up making sure you're punished under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. I wrote an article about it. It's got almost 1 million views. Go check it out on my article timeline on X. The man is despicable. And my guest today is a great American, former CB, fireman, first responder, steps into the breach when not very many people are going to do that, and is still doing it today for you and me, Chad Caton, who is the National Field Director of the Conservative Caucus, and a pretty darn good political operative, too, from what I can tell. Chad, the guy, you and I both been on the stage with the president, and we've heard this phrase more than once. I wonder if somebody took account of how many times he said, "This guy's from Central Casting," or "right out of Central Casting," because that's one of the phrases he sees when he sees somebody that's a high performer coupled with beauty, like that man is, looking like Superman there, even though he's on a walker, for God's sake. Right. The president's favorite phrase. He's right out of Central Casting. Somebody had to get a count. It's probably over 100. But I didn't get the Central Casting. Yeah, I didn't either. But
he said I was handsome, but I didn't get Central Casting.
I think this State of the Union, I don't know how the president does his speeches as far as how they're put together and everything, but I got the sense with this one that he actually wrote most of it in his own hand. Whatever was put in that prompter, because he didn't go off prompter very much at all, and it was just really, every line of it was compelling, and what he did with the military folks, especially last night, we haven't seen that before, especially 2 medals of honor be presented like that in public, outside of the White House or some other private setting. I think it was brilliantly done. It was well done. Nobody on earth, unless they're psychopaths like the Marxists, would dare complain about it. But the story, we knew there were going to be some stories come out of this Operation Maduro because it was so well done. And we had heard that somebody had been shot a few times, but the mission was completed and everything. But this guy, he's a stud.
Yeah, all you have to do is look at his rack on the his ribbons and whatnot, and you can tell this isn't somebody you want to walk up to and run your mouth. He's been in the game for a long time. He's got the rack to prove it, and to sit there, and this was anti-aircraft fire that 40 millimeter. I mean, he wasn't getting shot with 5.56, 223. For those of you who understand your ammunition, he was taking on some anti-aircraft and hitting his Chinook. And for those of you who don't know, you do have to use your legs in order to operate a Chinook. You really do. You have a co-pilot, of course, and I don't know the nomenclature of who can take what, and I'll leave that to the flyboys. But in that bird, the Chinook as itself is one of the most complicated pieces of machinery out there, because there are 1,000 pieces moving at 1 million miles an hour, and they're all trying to tear apart from each other. And then you start shooting it with anti-aircraft, and this guy took it, went in there, got the mission done, and brought his guys home. That is just unbelievable, but that's the Night Stalkers. And I know you know them, I know them. The Night Stalkers out of Fort Bragg are no joke, and those guys are all linebackers, and they all look like they're out of Central Casting and some war movie, but they walk out there and they do the job, and they do it perfectly every time, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this was a historic moment. It's first Chinook helicopter pilot to be given the Medal of Honor. First Chief Warrant Officer 5 to earn the Medal of Honor, and very rare public award to somebody in special operations that is close to Delta Force, Task Force 160, the 160th, where they fly these out of, these guys that you were talking about. Can
I speak on that point real quick?
Those guys don't normally go out in public because their families and them are at risk. You know, go ahead. Yeah.
And you saw that humility on his face. Mm-hmm. Every bit of that man standing there holding his walker was, one, pain, and two, he is like, I don't want to be here. I want to be with my men. I want this was and he those guys that get these awards like that, all he's thinking about were the guys on that Chinook, the guys that jumped off the Chinook, the guys that fueled the Chinook, the co-pilot, the medic on the Chinook. He's thinking about all of those guys and what they did. You saw it in his face. You saw that 1,000-yard stare. You saw that special operator in his mindset that is not supposed to be outside the shadows, taking this type of applause, if you will, and he did it with absolute humility. And I am proud that guy's on our side. And there has been people out there that have been running their mouth. There's been a couple of MSNBC folks that called it an award show.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna get too far into that because I got something to say to them, because those 2 awards with that blue ribbon are so touted, and most of the time those are given posthumously to those soldiers to have both of them sitting in that room, one from a top secret situation that couldn't be talked about for the last 50 years, and the other one from something that was one of the most amazing special forces maneuvers ever. And for him to be standing there looking like Captain America, it was a special moment. I was on a plane trying not to give my hoorah and pump my fist, but I didn't want to get in trouble. But it was special. It was absolutely special.
You know, God will judge those people that are talking crap. You know, the other thing that was great was his wife was there, and Amy, and there's been a lot of talk about her being there, and I think, you know, based on what he has said and what you and I know is, especially when you're an officer in a tight unit or a commander like I've been, we're a team. If you're married, you're a team. It's a team effort, man. You know, I never deployed where my wife wasn't like right there taking care of people while I was gone, especially when I was a commander, in addition to taking care of her own little kids. So I'm glad that Amy was allowed to be there and that the president honored her, because that's important. I mean, we have a friend of mine is the Deputy Assistant Secretary of War for Military Families and Coalitions, Steve Simmons, who that's all he does is look after the team of the family and everything from commissaries to BXs to Gold Star families and all that. That's what his sole job is. We dedicate a high-ranking individual for that. So I think it's very important that he did that, and I was very impressed with that. And they make a great team right out of Central Casting, as the boss would say.
Yeah, and I heard some people say, you know, some guys that were in, and they're like, why would he put his wife out there? Now he's put her on spotlight. Let me tell you all something. If any community takes care of itself, it's the special warfare community, and Miss Amy is very, very, very safe.
Yeah, don't forget that a Special Operations Green Beret colonel shot 2 Chechens posing as utility linemen on his property. That story's never been fully told. I don't know what it is, but they were Chechens, 2 of them, mysterious linemen out of some outfit in Chicago and North Carolina, and he offed them. So just remember that, bad guys and bad girls.
Always vigilant.
Yeah. So, I mean, he did go into policy, and I thought the president did the best job so far of this administration, not him specifically, of the administration publicizing the wins, just to shift a little bit from that. Did you feel that way too? Because I felt he did a really good job. It's going to help with the midterms. It's not going to hurt, and those kind of things.
Yes, I thought you did a great job, Colonel. The only misstep that was out there was trying to explain to the American people that you're better off. It takes a while for that economy to catch up to us. And there's a lot of people saying, what is he talking about? I thought that was a misstep, saying help's coming, if you will, or understanding that economic delay, if you will, as he's able to say jobs are up, job per hour is up, you know, salaries are up. He's got $17 trillion in investment into this country when the last administration had $1 trillion campaign in 4 years. He did it in 12 months. All of those things are so huge. The fact that we have the lowest violent crime rate since the 1900s. They all want to say that's not true. Well, the only people that are committing violent crimes around me is when I was in Portland, when I was in Chicago, when I was in Minneapolis, when I was in California. Those are all the places I see violence. And that's where the president and what they've been able to do through the DOJ, whether you like Pam or not, they've been able to catch, I think, 35,000 pedophiles. They're out there getting the job done. And the president did a great job, with the exception of him being so far on that spectrum of understanding the economics because it's his policies. He didn't realize, and that's because he's so, I guess the word is insulated, didn't realize that the American people are going to have to need a couple months to see that catch up to them and their billfold at home.
Yeah, it's great. Gas is really low down here. Price of eggs has dropped again, but man, beef, you go out to a restaurant and have a steak, that even surprises me, and I usually don't even pay attention to the bill. But so people are still feeling it in that. We just got to figure out how to help them. Yeah, absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. Well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll see. Talk about the elections going on in Texas, but I'll take the question from the audience right after this break.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Is the government tracking you? Do they have access to all your data? Well, if you go to worldviewtalk.com, you'll find out about a cell phone company that, well, does not store your data. They don't do that. This is what they're known for. They don't store your data. You have privacy. You're not being tracked. That's why a lot of folks are turning to worldviewtalk.com. You'll find their prices are very competitive. All the details are there at worldviewtalk.com. Again, worldviewtalk.com. Oh, while you're there, not only do they have cell phones that aren't tracking you, you can find out about how to get a satellite phone. Should the whole system go down and you want to communicate with a family member or a loved one, you might want to have a satellite phone. Or how about their solar generators? They have great solar generators. Check them all out right now. Worldviewtalk.com. Worldviewtalk.com.
Well, Colonel, everybody knows you're a firebrand when it comes to conservatism. Your thoughts on this Islam really making a real run to try to take over this state?
So what you see is that last clip that you played, there's a dialectic that takes place, and the far left is going to use that to destabilize and disenfranchise us. We need to focus on the thing that's the problem. The problem is framing Sharia law as a legal system, right? It's incompatible with our Texas state constitution, the U.S. Constitution. We've got 2 Sharia courts in Dallas-Fort Worth area alone, about 4 hours north of us. So with that being said, the current governor has written some strongly worded letters. Now, as a guy that used to work for him for 8 years in the Texas National Guard, I can say this, that the strongly worded letters without authorities lead to nothing. And that's the bottom line up front.
All right. So strongly worded letters, nobody really listens to them. Legislation, right, you try to get them to listen to, but, you know, at least you got some teeth with it. What should we be doing? What do you do if you become governor?
Right. So what you do is you ban any state recognition of Sharia as a legal source. That's number one. But you've got to have the teeth, and the teeth come with authorities. For guys like me, that looks like rules of engagement. Now, this is not a kinetic war, but what this is a war for the mind, assimilating the culture, right? Assimilating the U.S. culture. You don't get to change the street names to Muslim names. You don't get to deny equal protection to women and non-Muslims. You don't get to permit the permits. This system permits cruel and unusual punishments, right? There's apostasy, blasphemy. When you do that according to their laws, Sharia law, it criminalizes it. So we don't allow that in the state of Texas. Now, there's a strongly worded letter out there. It doesn't even admit to Sharia. It's not even in the letter. It's just talking about these acts. We got to call it for what it is, Sharia law. I got friends that are interpreters that work with me downrange. They voted for Trump. They love the Constitution. They fought alongside of us. We've got to get that kind of mindset so we don't allow this dialectic to take control and allow the left to use that as a tool.
most people out there have heard of the Muslim Brotherhood, terrorist group. This is Chip Roy. He congressman from Texas, obviously. Listen to what he had to say. Cut 4.
The Muslim Brotherhood has a specific plan to Islamify the state of Texas. You're seeing it unfold in Dallas-Fort Worth right now. There are no-go zones where women don't want to go here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. There are people that are listening to prayer calls. We are having to deal with a massive change in our culture because we haven't recognized that there is a war being carried against us.
Colonel, is he right?
He's absolutely right. He's my congressman, and he's moving on, but he's absolutely right. I used to go home from Beaumont, where I did residency, all the way up to the Red River, and you go through Prosper, Plano, Frisco, all those towns up there. That has become a Sharia haven, right? Richardson, Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area. It is taken over. And about 5 years ago, our teams on the border that we were encountering 120 different countries, including Hezbollah, Hamas, that were documented through Venezuela, that were coming across our border during Operation Lone Star in the Biden administration. Trump came in, put a tourniquet on that. That's good, right? But what happens if somebody else comes in after Trump that doesn't do that and we're back wide open? It's my job as the senior public servant in the state of Texas to fix that. Article 4, Section 7 of the state constitution.
Lastly, real quick, there's a bunch of you running against Greg Abbott. He's been governor for a long time. I think anybody in office for that long, really, it's too long. I don't even know what it is, 12 years now, something like that. But
12 years.
How do you unseat him real quick, 20, 30 seconds, and your chances, Colonel?
Our chances are we're in a statistical tie according to a lot of polls. These are straw polls, so I don't look at that stuff other than people tell me. So we've got to bring them onto our battlefield. That's 1 million voters, 1.2 million. We win this thing. It's an off-cycle primary. But right now the polls are showing that more people, double the amount of people, are coming in this year because they're concerned and people are tired of the status quo.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. It's Truth Thursday. There's a little truth there from Doc Pete Chambers, candidate for governor of the state of Texas, about Sharia law, and from Chip Roy, who's running for Attorney General in the state of Texas, who set up the Counter Sharia, Ban Sharia caucus up in Washington, D.C. at his congressional race. And I might add, a guy named Daniel Betts is running for his seat. He's a good guy. Gator Pack endorsed him. My guest today is Chad Caton. We're coming back. We got a hand up in the audience. We'll take that question real quick. That was a long video, but it needed to be shown. It needed to be shown. It was very informative. Every American should watch that video clip. Go ahead, Show.
We have AJ, sir.
Thank you, Shell. Colonel, it's a pleasure, sir. Chad, it's a pleasure as always. I don't mean to take away from the current segment of the show, but my question was, what interactions, if any, did you have, Chad, with the law enforcement of Minneapolis when you were there, given the fact that they're well known to be completely corrupted and in support of the violent protesters?
We called them Cop Tifa. They didn't give a flip about what was going on. As a matter of fact, they stayed away. I was there with Nick Sorter when the chief, Beefcake, rolled up there and tried to have something, and they started throwing snowballs at him. I mean, his own people that he is ideologically aligned with are throwing snowballs, and they ran away. They're all wearing their leather jackets and whatnot until it got so bad where they were breaking into the Hilton. They were breaking into the I can't remember. I think it was the AC Hotel. And then next thing you know, you had the sheriff down there. The sheriff was awesome. I mean, I don't know the sheriff, but his people were there. And the Bearcats came out. We had Minnesota State Police showed up, but local law enforcement were nowhere near. No, I didn't see them at all. And I was in two huge protests downtown where they broke the hotel's windows and doors and tried to get in and all of that. And then the second one, Bavino, came in where you have the famous shot of the guy that got hit in the face with a brick, the Border Patrol agent that was yelling, "Where are the local police?" And I was right there filming. And it was sad. It was very, very, very sad.
It is very sad that we can't rely on those that are sworn to protect and serve anymore, just because, you used to be able to recognize the uniform on site with a badge. and say, man, that person doesn't matter what I think or what I look like. They're going to help protect me if I'm in trouble. It's very unfortunate. That's going on in Texas too. I mean, look, I hate to say it, but I had to show that clip because Doc Chambers is right on a bunch of different levels there. There's a whole effort going on, supported by Steve Bannon and the War Room and Real America's Voice and Committee on Present Danger China has set up not the committee, but members of it have set up a bansharialaw.com effort. If you want to go there and support that to try to get this proposition passed to ban Sharia law there. But, the election fight has to happen. It's a primary. I see some people wringing their hands about Pete Chambers there. But look, he's got a grassroots campaign going, and we'll see what happens, right?
I was with Dr. Pete Chambers. I consider him a friend. I've known him for a while. He was with us in North Carolina with the mule teams and actually helping people medically. Doc Chambers is one of the greats out there. He's a legit G.I. Joe, American hero that loves this country so much. And the crazy part is his dog is probably more popular than he is because everybody knows his beautiful Malinois that goes with him everywhere that is so well trained. And Dr. Pete Chambers is somebody we need. If we lose Texas, we are in deep trouble.
Deep trouble. And at some point, the Republican voter, we're a lot smarter these days because we have access to a lot more information. But at some point, we're going to coalesce to be able to get the globalists and those kind of folks out of the positions of power and move people like Chambers in. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I'm endorsing him. I'll put an endorsement out either later today or tomorrow. I think he's worth the battle. And folks in Texas, get out there and vote. Tomorrow's the last day of early voting, and then you got Election Day next Tuesday on March 3rd and everything. And there's a lot more going on there. That guy, Chip Roy, he's running for Attorney General. He's the author of the SAVE Act, Chad, that everybody is fighting for. And the president asked for support for it. That's who that guy is. I mean, so you got some great people to vote for. I'm sure their opponents are great. There's some opponents that are great too. Although I don't think I would vote for Greg Abbott based on some of the things that I've seen.
Hot Wheels was out in the 80s. Let's be done with
it. Yeah. He may be a nice guy with good intentions, but the action, don't go by what people say. Look at what they do. Right, Chad?
That's absolutely right. Especially when we are dealing with an entirely different culture coming into one of our great states, and that of Texas, and we're watching it happen. I've been to Texas. I've seen the mosques and everything. It's not compatible, and they are. I blame Abbott a lot. He has not done enough, and every time when they were trying to build that huge neighborhood, it took the entire country blowing him up to get that legislation in that particular town to not allow that build to happen. So we shouldn't have to work that hard. It should be pretty commonsensical. And, that's why I always tell y'all, go figure out who's paying these people and donating to their campaigns. It shows a lot.
Yeah. And look, folks, if you haven't seen the video clip, I'll probably do a show sometime that has it in it. But Mamdani, the mayor, the Marxist Muslim mayor of New York City, there's a video clip that just came out yesterday morning of his police officers, elected officials. They're doing a Muslim prayer, and those guys are behaving like Islamists with their hand motions. I didn't even have to listen to the audio. I'm like, man, the Islamists really have captured the government of New York City if he's got them already doing that kind of stuff. And nothing good happens from that, Chad. Nothing good is
well, they're all getting beat. Then they got beat up in a snowball fight to the point where they were smacking these officers in the head. And then Mamdani comes out and says, all I saw was a snowball fight. Hey, Mamdani, how about you come have a snowball fight with me and my buddies? I will come to New York. I'll bring some of my homies, and we'll have a snowball fight with you, and bring the vitriol that we saw with the ice and the snow that was being thrown at those officers. It's disgusting.
Absolutely.
I would have turned my badge in that day.
It is, man. Well, got less than a minute left. Go ahead, Chad. Tell folks about the Conservative Caucus, the the movement that you're leading there. What's coming next from that, and what we should expect during the rest of the midterms from y'all?
Well, we are going to be real involved in the general elections. We're a big believer in let them fight it out. We have our ponies that we're hoping for, but we're going to be talking to a lot of these winners in these primaries and really get behind them in the general election. We need everybody to get behind an organization that's actually doing something. That's why you see me on the streets. I'm not sitting in an office somewhere collecting a paycheck and talking policy. I'm out there talking it on the street. I'm actually bringing you what I find. I'm going out there and putting myself in bad situations so that you can see the vitriol and the vile domestic terrorism that we've got going on in this country. We're doing that because the Conservative Caucus is going to stand in that breach. Go to the conservativecaucus.org. You can put in what state you're in. We don't send you a bunch of stupid stuff. And we actually have directors in each state that if we are doing something in the general or for that matter necessary, just because I might be out there and we're getting ahead of a bill or a policy, we'll hit you up and ask you to come stand with us. That's what we need right now is we need spine and we need people that are willing to stand with Americans, that are willing to keep this country exactly what it is. And that's the greatest country on this planet. And it will always stay that way as long as you fight for it. Come join us over at the conservativecaucus.org and we'd be glad to have you.
All right. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Great show. On X, I'm fired up too. Go follow him. If you're not, I would be very surprised if everybody watching this show is not following Chad Caton. I'll see y'all later. See you Monday. Chi Van Fleet and her new book. And remember, she is the Chinese woman that escaped the Mao Cultural Revolution and has lived to tell about why it's important to be an American and not be a commie or an Islamist and those kind of things. We'll be talking about her new book. I'll see you then.